If only everyone knew this. Going for one of those tabloid sensationalist titles. Because why? They work. Clickbait. Is that what we need to try and raise human consciousness and liberate humanity from compulsory labour for survival so that we can move into a better world? So what is it that would be good if we all knew? Well, it would be good if we all knew that life isn't something we possess, it's something we participate in. And that's because mind is mental. All is mind, the universe is mental. So that means that when we're walking down the street and we're going to the pub or we're going to the shop, we're going to meet our friends, whatever, it feels like that's very much the case. Like you are going to the shop. But what exactly are you? What is a human being, right? Where is mind? Is it local or is it universal, as I've just suggested? Is God or nature or universe itself omniscient, right? Meaning all sapient, all sentient, and omnipresent, meaning that it's everywhere. And then what exactly is it we're talking about? So what I'd really like people to understand and begin to become aware of is this notion that really there is no separation, as the Buddhists were talking about. And what we're trying to do really on this channel is reconcile all these seemingly disparate traditions. Because really they're all one and the same. They're all trying to explain nature and reality itself, the metaphysical nature of consciousness. So, like, for example, say you are on the walk, to the pub or wherever you might be at this time watching this video. Like, I'm in my little attic space in Hastings, and I can see a variety of what we might call objects, in my environment, like nouns. Like, that's a chair, apparently, that's a plant, a window, and there's a little table there, some paintings and posters and various statues and things. But all of this, really, when it boils down to it, we can, through a simple process of deconstruction, see that really what you're looking at is, say, for example, this wooden chair. Well, the chair isn't made of wood, it is actually wood, isn't it? And the wood isn't made of carbon, it is carbon. The carbon isn't made of atoms, it is atoms. The atoms aren't made of energy, it is energy. Everything you're looking at is a variety of shapes, textures, tones, which all can be explained as energy. So this is like a mental phenomena of sorts. We're in this kind of like 3D holographic reality, or holographic cinema. And all of that involves consciousness, doesn't it? You can't sort of step outside yourself, and trying to understand reality through these sort of Western modalities is very much like trying to bite your own teeth, as Alan Watts said. So what we need to actually sort of truly not just intellectualize what I just said about this true nature of non-duality, but to actually directly experiencing it, to directly experience it, is required only really the imagination. Even the spiritual retreats and all the things that we see in the world, that you're still surrounded by people, and you're going to talk about introspection and self-discovery. You don't need anyone around you. It's very much a natural state of being. Like, if you spend a lot of time on your own, this is why the hermit comes into the light of mind first and foremost, typically. The more time you spend on your own, the more time you have to cast your mind into the depths of space, to realize the profound truth, as I outlined at the beginning, which is that life is not something you possess, it's something you participate in and you witness. And this is a phenomenal sort of inverted truth, because most people tend to think of consciousness, when they think of that, they'll point here, like in the head. But if you open that up, you have someone who has like some brain surgery, they'll see that there's just some sort of gooey matter. That's not you, is it? Just like this hand, isn't me. This chin isn't me. I could cut my nose off if I was sort of like mentally ill, which is perhaps borderline now, based on this lunatic asylum that we're all having to live in at this time. But if I did that, like, at what point would I begin to realize that actually, hey, I'm not my body. This is just something I have, just like clothes. I have clothing. I have a foot. I have a hand. I have some eyes. And so I've been watching a lot of these nature documentaries recently, like Blue Planet, Planet Earth, and even Green Planet now. And you can really begin, if you watch those and just observe, they're quite actually good to sort of meditate yourself to sleep, because I've found it quite difficult to sleep, and these things have helped me actually. Or, of course, having the sort of orange filter on the screen so you don't get the blue light at night. But you begin to see that this is the sort of observer, the omniscient observer. You sort of like begin to embody that role and that truth that, you know, this awareness is everywhere, and like the more you put yourself out of the way, the more you can begin to align yourself to this, what I feel is a fact, but it's something that can only be deduced by way of curiosity, or as a beginning philosophy, as Socrates said. And you know, this holistic way of thinking is the only thing that can really you know, open. So, you know, seemingly the esoteric traditions often say that it's like giving you a key, you know, to realize something, but only you can turn the key. So when you start activating, you know, the information, the knowledge that you gain through these esoteric circles and spiritual groups, or whatever the philosophers that you might gravitate towards, only when you begin to exercise in wonder and awe and sheer reverence towards what, you know, man is traditionally called God, but of course is just reality, nature itself, of which is everything, you know, then you begin to open the door, and then there's no going back into the matrix from that point. And then that's where, you know, you begin to realize the true force behind this world and why things never get any better, really. And so you're like, that's why I'm really talking about these things, and these sort of philosophical discussions are all very interesting, because behind it is ultimately going to give rise to a raising of human consciousness, and that's fundamentally what's required for us to actually build a better world. And so if you are interested in doing that, incidentally, then do check out newearth.land, where perhaps you're already on the spiritual journey. You're back, you know, you're heading back towards nirvana. You're heading back towards the heavenly planes, right? And you're already aware to some extent of the darkness in the world. And so, yeah, do try and join in with a movement that I feel can absolutely help us and facilitate us to upgrade our infrastructure, you know, so that we can start to live truly freely on this planet. That's what we all want, isn't it? You know, we want to experience freedom, abundance, well-being, right? We can only do that when shelter, energy, food and water, the basic things that we physiologically require on a daily basis, are decommodified. The government should have been doing this all along, as I mentioned in previous videos, but never will, right? And they've proven that to be the case. So we have to take the bull by its horns, right? Take control of the situation and the system, right? And it doesn't mean that we need to fight the existing system. We just simply need to create a new parallel society that very much doesn't sort of go its own way just yet. It sort of straddles on this sort of crumbling world in terms of some of the infrastructural, you know, like drainage systems and all this kind of, you know, thing that we've set up in urban spaces. But if we start to reclaim our land and hold it in common by way of social media, if we had, say, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million followers, all of whom gave £1, that's a total psychological shift instead of what's happening at the moment in terms of these landlords who have, like, you know, £3 million, and they have the money to sort of buy land and then enslave us for rent, you know, and bills. This is what's happening increasingly, it seems, you know, skyrocketing rent and bills, and affordable housing is far from affordable. It's become a joke, a laughing stock. So we have to be the ones that create this. And, like, you know, I thought I'd just make this video with various different titles, you know, like, and so we've got sort of a blend of topics really on this channel, which is ultimately all oriented around consciousness. But that's because we need to actually have our feet on the ground and also our head in the clouds or our head in the stars, bit of both, right? So we need to bridge, in a way, the sort of profound and the profane, but also we need to bridge spirituality with being proactive in the world, right? Let's not just sort of drift off and start meditating all day, right? Because nothing will ever change on this planet. So if we can reconcile those two things and you know, come together and start talking about these loftier things, but also with a beady eye on society and helping people, you know, to overcome a lot of their suffering. You know, anxiety, depression are rife in the world. You know, it's grave misery, like lives of quiet desperation people are living. And, you know, that's because we've been divided and ruled over for a long time. So if we come together now, though, you know, newearth.land and various other things that you might be interested in, you know, online, loads of great people out there doing great things, we need to realize that ultimately we are the ones that have to create this, to stop relying on religions like the government. You know, that's become a religion, and scientism has become a religion, and we've got to be careful. And as long as we can sort of feel in our hearts that we're moving towards a better world and we're creating it ourselves, then no one can stop us. Once we come together, you know, critical mass is all that's required. I'd say on this channel, if we could reach even just 500,000 people, we will start to live in a better world, because we'll start to see the tangible reality. We'll feel it, right? We'll be able to see it when we start to reclaim our land and we build these architectural co-housing projects which I've been outlining at newearth.land, which you can check out. Do get in touch, Adam at newearth.land. Do check out the website, newearth.land. And if you've got any questions, do fire away. I'm more than happy to connect with people, and perhaps we'll be doing some sort of social gatherings on whatever platform is most relevant, perhaps Zoom or Discord or something like that. But anyway, for now, remember, all is mind, the universe is mental. Those who look outside dream, those who look inside awaken, right? Curiosity, imagination, the intuition, all these things, like the feminine nature of the mind, is what's been forgotten. We've forgotten the gift, as Albert Einstein said. And we need to get back in touch with that. So anyway, yeah, thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next video.